Why is it that Jews eat crackers instead of bread for 8 days out of the year? Matzah. This is how we do it. So I noticed this is the model matzah bakery, meaning you don't necessarily do it for real here?
Well, ever since the Shmur Matzah came on the market, you never want to leave traditions out of the children's hands. Our sages say, actually the scriptures say, Chanoch lanar al pi darko gam ki yaskin lo yasr mimena. Educate a child when he's young, so as he gets older, these things won't wither away from him. And when we have such a precious concept of Shmur Matzah, handmade Shmur Matzah, we don't want to leave that out of the children. And the Rebbe came up with this concept in the early 1950s to bring children into the matzah bakery so they could see the specialty of the mitzvah of matzah, come home to their parents and tell them about it. How much more so when it comes to handmade Shmur Matzah, which brings a sense of pride and a sense of creativity within the mitzvah. And here in Toronto, we've had one of the more successful model matzah bakeries out in North America, where we have 4,000 or 5,000 children coming a year from every walk of life within the city, from the most orthodox to the most secular, and however you want to cut up the Jewish people, as we don't like to do that. A Jew is a Jew. And when a young child comes inside with his class, with her class, with the teachers, and they learn about the matzah, and they learn about Passover and the whole story, and they're going to go sit at the Seder. They come inside in a hands-on project from the cutting of the wheat right till the matzah coming out of this oven. They walk out with a matzah. They feel a sense of closeness to the mitzvah. They come home with that. There's a whole new look to it. So we try to bring that to them, to their homes, to their families, and to their communities.
Let me explain about handmade shmura matzah. Shmura means guarded. There is matzah which is guarded from the time of harvest, which means they'll send out a group of rabbis to oversee the production of the harvest, so that they make sure that the wheat is dry. They make sure that after it is harvested, no water comes into contact with the wheat, and then they oversee the grinding of the wheat into flour.
This is the wheat which is straight out of the field, and each and every one of the children get one stalk of wheat. And with this, they grind the wheat. They have special machinery which grinds the wheat into flour, and with that, they can take their very own flour, move right into the next room, which is called the mixing room. In the mixing room, they get to be seated and explained a little bit more about the process and how fast and the pace of the mitzvah and the actual procession takes place, where one girl, flower girl, and a water boy comes up to their respected booths.
On the count of 3, we're all going to yell out flour, or you could say kemach. Either or say flour or kemach, and when we say that, our juggler is going to pour in this flour into this bowl, okay? On the count of 3, say flour. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I want to give her a big hand.
And an adult, maybe a teacher or volunteer, would come and mix the dough, and the 18 minutes begin.
So a window will open, a hand will pour some flour into a bowl and close the window. A hand pours some water into the bowl, and the kneader begins to quickly mix the dough. It takes him about a minute or 2 to mix up the entire batch, at which time he passes it to the table where the matzahs are rolled out.
From there they'll come up to the bakery. Each and every child gets their own little piece of dough.
There's a long table with many people standing around with rolling pins rolling out matzahs. The dough is continuously worked, because if it sits idle, that's an occasion for it to rise as well. That's another way in which we prevent the rising of the dough.
Roll it out, perforate it to make sure that it remains flat, that the heat goes right through the matzah.
It is now placed on a wooden rod and put into the oven. It takes about a minute and a half in the oven for the matzah to be completely baked, at which point it's taken out and then packaged and shipped.
Each one is given their own matzah to be able to take home and eat prior to the Seder. And then, by this Seder, when they open up the kosher for Passover, a real handmade shmura matzah, they feel a sense of closeness to it. You know, they could relate to the mitzvah on a personal, on a child's level, which is the importance. That was the Rebbe's vision, not to leave the children out of that, because the children are our future. And if we have a precious mitzvah, we have a precious holiday, we have to bring it to them first.
While on the 7 days of Passover, or 8 days outside of Israel of Passover, we are not commanded to eat matzah. It's just that we're not allowed to eat chametz. On the first 2 nights of Passover, we are commanded specifically to eat matzah, which means that every Jew needs to eat at least an ounce, minimum an ounce of matzah, which is approximately 1 machine-made matzah, or about 1/3 to 1/2 of a hand-baked shmura matzah. And the eating of the matzah should be done, not a nibble here and a munch there. It needs to be done as a mitzvah, which means within a 6-minute period, we must eat the entire portion of matzah. The Holy Zohar, which is the principal book of Kabbalah, tells us that matzah is the food of faith. On the first night of Passover, it's considered the food of faith, which means when a Jew eats matzah, somehow it infuses a person with faith. On the second night of Passover, it's called the food of healing. It provides healing for physical ailments on the second night of Pesach. Take advantage of both of these opportunities to bring faith and healing to yourself and your family.
I'm Shoshana Israel. Matzah. That's how we do it. Very good.